Hey, it's another wonderful day in the Philippines. You know, there's a lot of videos out there about the cost of living and budgets here in the Philippines. And there's probably just as much confusion. In this video, I've given you the tools to actually choose where you want to shop. There's 3 different levels of shopping, from the public market to S&R, the price points, and those types of things. So you can pretty accurately put together what your own budget would be when you get here. Anyway, I hope you'll check it out. You know, when you're coming to the Philippines, you're thinking about your lifestyle, and you need to come up with a budget. You need to know what your life is going to be like when you get here. You know, you listen to 3 different guys, it's like wearing 3 different watches. You're going to have 3 different times. Now, in this video, I'm going to try to give you the tools to create your own realistic budget before you leave the couch. And the purpose of that is so that when you're sitting down trying to pencil it out, you can figure out comfortably what it's going to be like for you. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I went back and I looked at budgets from all the major YouTubers that I could find. Those guys that I was looking at also said in their budgets that you couldn't live here under $2,000 a month. Well, I went back and added up their budgets and deducted the things that are not part of my lifestyle, and they all came in way under $1,000 a month. Matter of fact, they were all within $100 to $150 a month of my budget, still under $1,000 a month. Now, other than your house, your food budget is going to be your biggest variable. Now, to help you come up with a budget, I've actually went down and I've videoed so you can see what the actual prices are. I'm literally showing you the market. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. You can figure out what it's going to cost you. So you can watch this video, look at the price of things, and come up with a shopping list of what you would want to eat. And that would become your basic food budget. Now, there's nothing fresher than a public market. All that meat, poultry, and fish was probably running around or swimming yesterday. Now, when I first got here, I was a little bit scared of the public market, thinking of food poisoning things. But I've never had food poisoning since I've been here. How about fresh jumbo shrimp for the same price as a quarter pounder at McDonald's? In this video, I'm going to show you what I wish I had known before I got here. Hopefully it will save you some confusion while you're putting your plans together to come here. What I might recommend is picking up a notepad at the store. Probably cost you, 50 cents or something. And the first thing you want to start doing is writing down your lifestyle. Now, this exercise is not to tell you how you have to live when you get here, but it's to let you know what your existing lifestyle would cost you here. That's where you can take that basic budget and add on to come up with the lifestyle that you hope to achieve when you do arrive. You'll know you got your basic budget covered, and it's time to upgrade to the lifestyle that you would like once you get here. So for 99% of the people watching this or in America, your lifestyle will be much better here based upon having the same amount of income as it would be in America. And mine was pretty simple. I didn't go out much, so I cooked most of my own meals. One of my biggest mistakes that I did when I got here was I didn't quite comprehend the value of the peso. And I would see all these things, and in my mind is, oh, that's so cheap, that's so cheap, that's so cheap. I would go buy all these things, and pretty soon my savings was gone for the month. It's like going away to college, and all these companies are giving away free credit cards, 300 here, 300 there. This might be one of your last do-overs at retirement age. What you don't want to do is just come here and know that things are cheaper, and you think, oh, I can rent a house, I can have a driver. Yeah, you could have a driver, my friend, but keep in mind, the reason I can travel 2 weeks out of every month is because I don't have a driver. I don't need a driver. I can live frugally. I have less needs than I had before I left America, but I have more freedom than I ever imagined. And that's the best part of being here, is the financial freedom that I've always wanted. Now, the guys that have the big houses and the subdivisions and all those kinds of things can't really afford to travel, and they do not have the same freedom that I have today. Make sure that's what you want. A big old house can get lonely. Now, don't come here trying to live beyond your means. That's a recipe for disaster. Getting back to the list I was talking about, if you go out to dinner twice a week, put that down. If you go out to lunch 3 times a week, put that down. Now, you might put down $10 for dinner, which is a little on the high side, and $5 for your lunch. So that would be $35 a week times 4. You're talking $105 for meals out. Just jot that down. So at this point, you can see what your meals out part of your budget would be if you continued lifestyle as you do it today. So in this case, if you had a basic budget of $600 a month, your budget would be $705 to continue your existing lifestyle. Now, when you have that figure, you can deduct it from your total income and see what your net spendable is. And then you can start adding the upgrades to your lifestyle. Like maybe in America, you can afford to go golfing twice a year. Now, maybe here you can afford to go once a week. So if that's $15 a week times 4 weeks, that's $60. So you just add that to your basic budget. So if you got your basic budget $600, you got meals out at $105 and golfing at $60. So realistically, you're at 765. Any kind of plan that you have that's going to anchor you somewhere is probably not a good plan. Chances are, if you're in my case, what I was looking to do was to set up shop the way that I wished I would have set up shop in San Diego, if I could afford it there. If I had done that when I got here, I would be stuck in my own little corner in the planet. I have all the cool stuff I always wanted when I was keeping up with the Joneses, but I wouldn't have the freedom I have today. The freedom to travel almost wherever, whenever. I would no longer have that because I would have myself locked into a higher monthly obligation and also blown through a bunch of my savings. Now, when you first get here, you're going to have a lot of stuff coming at you. Those notes you made in that notebook may get you through some of the tough times of temptation when you're setting up shop here. Be good to yourself. Don't do that. Now, what I get from listening to a lot of these budgets is that people are describing their lifestyle here, and, you shouldn't really come unless you could afford all these things. Well, they didn't have that lifestyle in America. I got a decent idea of what they actually make, and they don't make anywhere near to cover this lifestyle in America, yet you can't be happy unless you live here like they do. I don't get it. That's kind of why I try to cut back all the bells and whistles out of my basic lifestyle, and then you can add the bells or add the whistles or add the bells and whistles to your lifestyle as you're trying to develop it when you get to the Philippines. You need to do what's going to make you happy, and if golfing twice a day to somebody else, you just can't. That's just not living unless you're golfing or doing these different things. I mean, to me, I suppose traveling would be the thing that I wouldn't be happy unless I could do. But I don't put in my budget $30,000 or $40,000 a month traveling. But that's what makes me happy. To get my budget down to the $600-700 a month, which is realistic for me to cover all my food, all my bills, and my house. And I didn't even use the price of my house. I used a price of $10,000 for a house because I spend so much less. It has to be realistic. That's why my realistic budget is $600, because when you deduct what I spend on traveling and putting into this house, that's about what's left. So me putting together a budget where you're putting in $1,800 a month between your basic budget, what you're putting into a house remodel, and what you're putting in travel would be absolutely ludicrous. Now, when I'm talking about reviving here, what I mean is, for example, in San Diego, I cook almost all of my meals at home. I rarely went out. So those didn't reflect in my budget. I would be happy as I was facing living on the street, knowing that I had a solid roof over my head, aircon, 3 square meals a day to eat, transportation, and enough to cover my bills with a little bit of money left over. That would have been good. I may not have moved here if I had that back in San Diego. My $600 budget, I still stand by that. I could live here comfortably with that budget. I don't. I spend more. But I could, and I needed a place to start to see how much money I would have left over, a net spendable from my budget. Now, the footage on this video is from another video I did called $600 a month realistic budget. In that video, I showed that with an average price of $8 a day at the public market, maybe $12 a day at Pure Gold, maybe at the hypermarket, it'd be $18 a day, and then maybe at S&R, it would be $22 a day. So in that budget, I figured I shop at the public market 20 days, probably 2 days hypermarket, 2 days S&R, and 2 days Pure Gold. And that's where I came up with my food budget. You may have all your time at S&R or all your time at hypermarket, whatever you choose. But when you choose, that will be the choice that you made for your budget. And I use $10,000 for rent because it's basically coming from a province point of view. If you want to live in Dumaguete, you might leave something more like $25,000 a month. In Makati, it might be $30. Cebu, it might be a little more. Now, my fiber optic costs me about $50 a month. Electricity, probably $65 on average. Water, maybe $10, and then you've got probably $50 a month for your visa extensions. Now, if you round up and you add it all together, you're going to come up with somewhere around $600 at the price point of $10,000 per month for the rent. So then if I wanted to eat out twice a week and lunch 3 times a week, I'd add on the $35 a week for that. If I wanted to golf once a week, I'd add on $15 for that. And this is how you come up with a realistic budget for when you get here. Now, the other budgets all talk about saving. Okay, so whatever you save in America, just add that to your budget. When you get all this stuff added up, you can deduct that from your total income, and you will see what you have left over. That will be your net spendable, my friends. Now, you could have 20 people doing 20 different budgets with different amounts, and they would all be 100% correct because it is their budget for them. Now, I get comments and messages from people all the time concerned about what they heard that you have to have in a particular budget in order to live here comfortably, in order to live here, and in order to be happy here. That is the reason that I've put this budget together. You can go back and look at my other video, and I still stand by that. But In this video, I covered the caveats between what you would have in yours, what I have in mine, and what other people claim to have is their minimum budget. So that you can feel comfortable in having a pretty good idea what your budget is going to be when you get here. Well, my friends, that's pretty much what I've got for you in this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you click on the bell, that will inform you of when I have new videos coming out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.